This is, I'd say, a pretty easy question here. So there's going to be a a signal. I'm assuming like a bloodhound signal probably, and a limit order is wanting to be placed, and we're going to place it on the Ichimoku Span A, and then if the order's not picked up, then we want to trail that order for the next 20 bars. So, and it says on another data series here. So, yeah, we'll show how to do that. So, so we can do the initial limit order placement, right, on one indicator or on one plot or one data series, and then we can have the trailing switch over to another data series, so to speak. All right, so I have the Ichimoku on here, and the span A is the white line. There we go. All right, so it's that white line there, and I guess I don't really recall how to trade the Ichimoku, but I will. Let's see. Looks like the market is underneath the span A, and so let's see. Well, it was. Just for the sake of demonstration, let's see if I do a sell. I'll have the limit order trail span B. Yeah, span B is the gray line, I believe. Let me just double check here. Yeah, span B is that gray line, let's see, the upper part of the cloud. Yeah. So, all right, I'll make that line a little thicker there so I can see it better. All right. So, yeah, so we'll initially place the limit order on span A, which is the white line, and then on the next bar, it'll start trailing span B for 20 bars. Right. So, okay. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up that question. Oh, no, actually, there's a second part of the question here. So the cancellation, so canceling the order. So we want to cancel the order after 20 bars, or at a certain time of the day. So now, one thing to note, NinjaTrader doesn't operate by time of day. The way NinjaTrader operates is on bar close. So basically it's going to be whenever the bar closes is when the order would get canceled. So if that time of day, say for example, let's see here, we're just past 10 o'clock here my time. So let's say we wanted to cancel at noon, at 12 noon. Well, whenever the bar closes afternoon, so since I'm using range bars, right, these range bars don't conform to time. They close whenever they close. So whenever the bar closes at 12 noon or afterwards, that is when the order would get canceled. So the only way to have an order canceled on a specific time of day would be to use time-based bars such as minute bars or second bars. right? Because those bars would be closing exactly on the time at which you would want to close your order out. But anything other than second or minute-based bars, the way Ninja operates is whenever the bar closes, so for non-time-based bar, whenever that bar closes after the time that you want to close, that's when the order is going to get closed. It's going to close when the bar closes. So if you want to close an order out at 12 noon, but the bar closes at, say, 12:01 and 12 seconds, well, 12:01 and 12 seconds is when the order would actually close out, not at 12 noon, right? It totally depends on when the bar closes. Or as I say, the closing, it totally depends on the closing time of the bar, right? So, okay, so with that explanation, let me get things set up here. So I'm going to switch over to simulated data feed. Let's get BlackBird running here. So let's see, there's a couple of BlackBirds from last week. Take those off. Let's just throw a new one on here. All right, get BlackBird open. Okay, so this says when a signal occurs. I don't think that's really the important part of the question. Plugging in your own bloodhound signal or your own indicator signal, right? I mean, that part is pretty simple. There's other workshop videos out there that show how to plug in your signals, your trade signals up here. So what I'll focus on is the setting up the limit order part, right? The trailing and the canceling, and that part. So, all right. Let's set up a limit order here, limit entry. All right, there we go. Now, so the Ichimoku Span A, it sounds like that will be the initial placement. All right, so we have the initial placement. So let's open this up, and instead of using price, we're going to use an indicator value here. So switch that over. All right, we'll hit the configure button, and we shall go find the Ichimoku. All right, there it is. Select it down there. And of course, make sure that your indicator settings match what's on your chart here. All right, so on the chart I'm using the same 9, 26, 52, just the default settings for this example. And we're gonna set the limit order on Span A. There we go, Span A. So I'm assuming we're going to use Span A for long and shorts. So just like that. All right, and if you wanted to, you could apply an offset. So you could say, place the limit order one tick below Span A, the Span A, one tick below for, say, a long order, right? Or one tick above for a long order, whatever you wanted. So if you want, you can throw in an offset there, but I'm just going to keep it on the indicator. So, all right. So there we go. We have the initial placement. That part's easy. Now the other part here where we're going to trail using another data series for 20 bars. All right. So we're going to go back into the entry order. And this time we're going to go over to the trailing tab here, right? So the trailing tab. Or the trailing actions tab, right? So let's set the mode to custom. So we're going to create a custom trailing. Okay. Now let's click the add trailing rule here, like so. And I like to stretch this out a little bit longer. Let's see, what did I say I was going to do? We're going to trail the span B. So it's good to put a name in here just so you know what this trailing rule is doing here. Now, you know, this question that came in isn't very specific, but you know, I'm going to assume that we're just going to put the limit order on span A for the first bar, and then the second bar it'll trail span B. So you know, if we wanted to, we could use a delay and we could delay moving to span B, you know, by an extra bar or two if you wanted to. The way that question was written, I think we're just simply going to start trailing span B. So the action column is what moves the order, right? We're going to move the order to, so the move to, and the default is the last setting, but we don't, remember the last setting is where the market is, right? The last tick, the last price is the market price, right? So that would move the limit order right into where the market's at. So, but we're going to change that from last price to an indicator value. So remember, a data series, comes from an indicator. So let's see this open again. All right, so let's replace the SMA with the Ichimoku. All right, there we go. We have that selected. Again, make sure you have your parameters set correctly if you've changed any of them. And then let's find span B. There we go. And again, if you'd like to apply an offset, all right, so if you're in a long trade, you could trail the Ichimoku Span B, you know, one tick above the plot or one tick below the plot, you know, or several ticks, you know, whatever you want. You can apply an offset there. So I'm just going to leave it at 0. Call it good. And the last step is the repeat here. So, you know, we want this to trail for 20 bars. And so I'm just going to put this on repeat indefinitely. And we can see it's going to, the repeat is going to function every bar. So when you're trailing an indicator, right, indicators update themselves on a bar by bar basis, right? There's no, indicators don't update intra-bar as the bar is building. So this is perfect, right? So to repeat on every bar, right? Now, back to the last part, right? We want to cancel. We want to cancel the order after 20 bars. So that's one part of the cancel. So I'm going to go back to my entry order and go back to the options tab, and we have a cancel here. So I'm going to plug in the number of bars and just put in 20 there. All right. There. All right, there's the number of bars, so cancel up to 20 bars. And now the canceling at a certain time of day. So that's going to require an indicator to do that. And luckily we have an extra indicator that can identify times of day. So let me click OK on Blackbird. I need to get rid of that panel. So now I can get back to my chart, and I'm going to go into the indicators window. So, and if we go down to SI, we have the SI time block. Now, normally the time block indicator is used to identify blocks of time. But in this particular case, we're going to use it to identify a specific time of day. So let's see, what time is it? All right, I think I'm going to set time of day here for 10:30. Right, so that's 8 minutes from now. Now, when you're using a time block indicator, keep in mind the way NinjaTrader operates is time is based on your computer time, right? So whatever your computer time is set to. So, and let's see here. With the time block indicator, right, if you want, you can turn off certain days of the week, right? But the default setting, as you can see, that has Monday through Friday all turned on. Sunday is turned off. So you can go in there and so if you don't want, so say for example, you don't want to cancel at 10:30 on Wednesdays, for example. You could turn Wednesdays off, and then the time block indicator would not provide any kind of signal at 10:30 on Wednesdays if we turn that off. So, all right. Anyways, if you want to learn more about the time block indicator, there's another workshop, but there's a Bloodhound workshop video out there that specifically covers the time block indicator when it first came out. So, and I could show that to you later if you'd like to. If you'd like me to find that video for you, just let me know, and I'll find that video for you later here. But for now, all we need to know is we'll just set our start time at to 10:30, and that's all we needed. And actually, we don't even need to put this indicator on the chart here, but I'm going to put it on there just so we have a visual reference. And yeah, there we go. So we can see it's yellow now. And let me go back into the indicator. We have these colors. Right, there's 3 different colors that you can apply to the chart to help you identify, the time blocks or blocks of time. So right now, yellow here is before the start time. So yellow is going to be before the start time of 10:30, right? And then it's going to switch to gray, right? So when it switches to gray, we know that 10:30 has passed. So, all right, I better get going. We only got 5 minutes left. So, all right, so we're going to go back into the entry order, and we're going to go into the trailing actions now. And I'm going to create a new trailing rule. So, and let's call this cancel at 10:30. That would be AM. All right, so we're going to use a trigger on. We're going to use a trigger on event here, and we just simply use an indicator value, right? So let's go change our indicator here, and let's go find the SiTimeBlock. There it is, and of course set up our start time correctly, 10:30. And we can see, right, the time block has a bunch of bool series here. And the one we want to use is the start bar. So, right, the start time at 10:30. So we want to know which bar is on that 10:30 time slot, right? So we're going to use the is time bar. So the time block indicator will, with this bool series, it's going to set the is start bar. It'll set that to true for that bar that encompasses 10:30. Right? And I better hurry up before 10:30 gets here. We're going to leave the long and short factors alone. And let's see. So that's a bool series, which is true or false. Again, our indicator, right? If you notice, these are bool series here. So those are true or false. So the is start bar, it'll be true. It'll go from false to true on the bar that encompasses 10:30. So on our thresholds here, we want to use 1. So 0 would be false and 1 would be true. So for both long and short, we're going to set both of them to 1. And actually, when we want to do, we'll do equal to. We could do greater than or equal to, or we could just do equal to. Either way, doesn't matter. Right? So that is start bar, that bool series will equal 1 when it becomes true. All right. So there's our trigger event, and the action, instead of moving the order, we want to, if we scroll down, we want to cancel that order. And you know what? I am running out of time. Yeah, I'm running out of time. So basically I'm done here, but 10:30 is going to come up here pretty quickly. So I'm going to go back into my time block indicator and give myself an extra minute here. So I'll set it to 10:31 there. Let's see. Actually, just for good measure, let's set it to 33. That way we can watch the trailing of the limit order happen for a few bars before it gets canceled. Okay. There. All right, so the cancel order here, and I'll adjust the name there. There we go, 10:33. All right, so we're using a trigger, and we're using the action of cancel. So we're going to cancel the limit order. And there's no repeat, right? You can only cancel an order once. So the repeat, we can just leave that at none. So repeating really only applies when you're creating a trailing rule, or a rule that where we're trying to trail that order. So okay, and I'll just set a simple stop loss and profit target here, just to help us. Just to help us see when the order is executed. All right, I'll make some big, large stop loss and profit targets. Okay, that should do it. Now I'll do one quick adjustment. I'll adjust the time block indicator on the chart. Now, again, I do not have any trade signals set up here, but so I'll just use the go long and go short button here. Let's see. So I'm going to move the market down, and I will go short. And oh yeah, you notice. So that order actually moved up immediately. So I'm going to make an adjustment here. So let's close that out and make a quick adjustment. So I'm going to go into the entry order, go into the trailing actions, and so the trail span B, that kicked in immediately. So let's actually delay that by 1 bar. All right, there we go. Okay, let's try this again here. So go short. There we go. So when this bar closes, the limit order should start trailing span B, right? A little higher, right up here. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go ahead and move the market down. Yeah, I'll move the market down. And, oh, look at that. 1033 already came by. So, okay, so let me make a few more adjustments. We didn't get to see any trailing take place here. So, all right, let's add another 3 minutes in there. All right, so I adjusted it on the chart. So let me go make the adjustment inside BlackBird here. So the cancel rule, we're going to adjust that to 36 minutes. And let's go adjust the indicator settings in here. There we go. So 1036. All right, click OK, OK. And like that. And let's go short again. There we go. All right, as soon as this bar closes, our order should move up to the gray line, which is the span B, and start trailing the gray line. And there it go. It just moved up. And now we just need to wait probably another minute and a half, and this limit order will cancel itself. There we go. 1 more minute to go. And unfortunately, the span B line, right, that gray line there, it's been flat for a bunch of bars, so we're not going to really see that order trailing, or at least we're not going to see that order, that limit order, move around any. Let's see. Oh, it's starting to come down. Okay, so maybe we will. So it looks like it's only coming down like less than half a tick. So remember, your orders can only be placed on a tick. So if your indicator, so if your indicator is plotting a value, in between tick values, obviously you can't move an order, to a 1/10 of a tick or half a tick, right? So, and there we go. 36 happened. 36 minutes happened, and that order canceled. So, and let's see. So this bar, if we look at the time of that bar where my cursor's at, it was 10, 36, and 17 seconds. So that is when the order would have been canceled. So, and always keep in mind here on Ninja's order tab, Ninja provides lots of information here. So let's see here. Oh, actually, yeah. I was noticing here on this order, it had the timestamp was 36 and 12 seconds, and that was different than the 36 and 17 seconds that I had my cursor on. But actually, if I go back one bar, I should have been looking at the colors here. I can see that actually the first bar was 36 minutes and 11 seconds. So there we go. So our order was canceled 12 seconds afterwards, right? As soon as that first bar closed after 10:36. So, yeah. All right. So there we go. Now, if let's see here. If I go short again, there. Now, this order is never going to cancel, right? Because of the way that we're using the time block indicator. So, canceling your order based on the time of day only works according to whatever indicator you use, right? So in this case, the only indicator I have is the time block indicator, right? And that can cancel, based on one time of day, right? But what we could do, let's say you wanted to cancel at multiple times of the day. Let's kind of dive into this a little further here, and let me show you how to set up multiple times of day to cancel an order. So let's see here. I'm just going to set this back to 10:30. That. So actually, yeah, that's right. With the time block indicator, we actually have do actually have two times of day here, right? So we have a is start bar, and we have a is end bar, right? So these bool series will go from false to true on the start time and on the end time. So so I could say something like this. So I could say we have a start time of 10:30, a end time of 12, right? We can see we can only select one time at a time, right? So what we'll have to do is one trailing rule will have us cancel at 10:30, right? So I'll leave this one at 10:30, and then we can create another trailing rule here. And we can do 12, like so. And we would just basically set up the exact same trailing rules here. So we go back into the trigger, go back to indicator value as our trigger, right? We'll go and plug in our time block indicator. Right, there's our time block indicator. Now, since we're having to really build another rule, I guess that really kind of demonstrates that, there's really no sense in setting the start time to 10:30 and the end time to 12. We might as well just set this indicator, or set this start time to 12 if we want, like so. Yeah. There. So there's not much value in doing something like this. So I could set my start time to 10:30 and then set my end time to 12:30. So I could set up this time block, right, exactly the same way I set up the time block for the other trailing rule. I could set them up the same, but I don't really see much I don't really see much benefit in doing that. Technically speaking, for NinjaTrader, this would be slightly more efficient for technical reasons for NinjaTrader, but it really should have negligible effect by doing this. So, but if we wanted to, we could set it up like that. So we could just set it, use the end bar time of 12 o'clock if we wanted to. But for the sake of consistency, I'd say it's probably easier to remember to just use the start time all the time. That way it's just easier setting things up, right? Less things to remember. Just kind of keeps the whole process of setting up these cancel rules. It just keeps it a lot simpler if we just use the start time only, right? Much easier to remember all that. And let's see here. And then the other thing we need to set up is the long and short threshold, and we're going to use an equal to, there we go, equal to 1, and then the action here, again, we're going to change the type. Instead of move order to, if we scroll down, we're going to use cancel order. There we go. All right. So there we go. We have one order to cancel at 10:30, another canceling at 12:30. And of course we could just keep adding to this, so you could have as many cancel times of day as you would like. So, all right. Yeah. And of course, the way this question was phrased, keep in mind this this trade's only going to last for 20 bars, and it gets canceled. So, all right. Let's see. Let me save this out here. Hit the save button. Okay, pretty lengthy line, pretty lengthy name there, but all right, that should be fairly self-explanatory. All right, so we have that saved out. Okay, well, that does it for that question. Let's see. All right, so David's asking, when running, multiple Blackbirds, how can you tell the profitability of each? All right, good question. In the performance panel here, so you'll notice on the side here, there's a performance and a order monitor panel here. So under performance, if you pin that, right, you'll notice these panels have a little pin. So if you want, you can pin it, and now it's stuck open, right? It's pinned open permanently. So, and there's also a order monitor panel here as well. So, you know, if you like, you can monitor the orders here, so we can see that our limit order just got canceled. So looks like, yeah, probably had more than 20 bars go by, and the order finally canceled. But anyway, I'm sorry, but to your question here, you can see we have total net profit. So right there in the performance panel. So and if you'd like, you can tear that off and put that off to the side somewhere. So and when you tear it, when you tear the panel off, you can see it'll tell you the instrument and the chart that it's from. So if you have more than one oil 5-range chart open, so if you have BlackBird running on, you know, 2 different oil 5-range charts, you know, you're not going to know which BlackBird this is from if you tear it off. Right? Just keep in mind that the only thing we can really identify is the instrument and the chart that the panel that BlackBird's running on. So just keep that in mind. So if you want to tear that off, so or otherwise, I can. There we go. Put that back in there like so. So and excuse me. Each BlackBird, right, has a performance panel like that there. So and actually you can look at so if you have BlackBird running in group mode, you can take a look at the group statistics here. If you set the view to group, right, it'll show you the group statistics. Or you can take a look at the individual statistics there. But in this case, right, I have BlackBird running in individual mode here. So we can see the top one here, the calculation mode. So it's running in an individual mode. So with this BlackBird running in individual mode, then if I look at the group mode, there won't be any stats here for group mode since BlackBird's not running in group mode. Right? Yeah. Till next week. Have a good weekend. Keep your questions coming. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.